Eldon, you had a chance this week to meet with Steinbach City Council and just discuss some general items regarding the landfill site. When you look at this facility we're standing at, how long does it have left before you have to do something?
At the rate that we're receiving waste right now and at the rate that Steinbach and area recycles, we figure about another 14 or 15 years or so.
So that puts us to around 2030 to 2035. What has to happen then?
Well, then it has to be decommissioned, of course. We've got to move to a different site, which is in planning stages. You always have to be years ahead for something that substantial. But yeah, you'll have to get into decommissioning and capping the old side like we're starting to do with this side, which we stopped using 7 years ago. And there's a lot of dollars involved with something like that.
What is the cost to do that correctly and according to what the province demands?
Well, for example, the old side here, we're looking at between probably $6 and $8 million to do this side environmentally and regulation correct. And then translate that into $2,032 and you might be looking at $20 to $25 million to do that side when it's done.
But I understand that there's a way we can push that cost back, defray that cost, that all of us can participate in.
Yeah, well, I mean, increasing the longevity of the landfill site, that would be the easiest way to do that. And how do you do that? And that's more waste diversion. Take more of the products out of the landfill that are coming in now that don't belong here. We like to think we're really good at recycling, but we can always improve, and we know there's stuff in there that should not be in the landfill site. So we're working on the education process with that to try and divert those last few items out of there that we don't want into the landfill.
Before we started on mic here, talking about a family that I've heard about in Altona that's reduced their garbage footprint to one ice cream pail every 2 months, which that's on the extreme end, but I think it involves shopping smartly so that you're only getting recyclable containers, etc. But if we all start thinking in that direction, the impact happens pretty quickly, doesn't it?
It would put us all out of jobs here, but you know what? Ultimately, when I do school tours here, which we do quite a few of this time of year, I tell them that our ultimate goal is for all of us to be out of jobs. We want to shut the landfill down and not use it at all. And it's possible. We see it not just in Europe, but there's other places in Canada that have already done it.
So what are some simple things that all of us can do just to start down that road?
Boy, you know, there are a few things that the guys collect out there all the time that shouldn't be in the landfill. Unfortunately, grass bags at the end of your curb, that's a huge organic item that shouldn't be in here. Creates lots of greenhouse gases, which is something we don't want in our ozone layer. There's lots of metals, there's woods, there's lots of recyclable products that are still coming in here that people aren't aware we could use elsewhere.
So the biggest thing is to educate ourselves, take a look at that list of what's recyclable and discipline ourselves a little better.
Yeah, and that's a list that we have to come up with now too, and we'll work on that process too to better educate the public as, you know, what our aims and what our goals are to make the longevity, you know, as best we can for the landfill.
Any potential, you said it's 10 to 15 years, but if we do take pretty radical steps, we could, extend that to 30?
We probably could, yeah. There's no reason why we couldn't. I mean, we're not all down to one ice cream pail. That's pretty phenomenal, but that's the extreme end of what can be done. And that should be the goal we all aim for, but of course we won't all get there. But we should start. You got to start somewhere.